Yo, so I wanted to just give a big, or just kind of wanted to hit on this topic real quick. The number one thing you can do to lose weight is caloric deficit. That is it. A lot of times people think to lose weight, they got to do all this fancy bullshit. It's really not that hard. If you can get yourself in a caloric deficit, you will lose weight. Now, you probably are asking, like, well, what does that mean? Like, what do I got to do to be at a caloric deficit? And how do I know I'm in a caloric deficit? Well, if you're not somebody who can find your caloric deficit and do it all by scratch on paper, which some people like to do, and there's ways to do it, right? There's also apps, right? And so one of the apps I use, and I'll pull it up. I don't know how good it'll look on the screen. And I'm not sponsored by these guys, and I definitely don't get their premium. So what that means is a lot of the weight loss tracking apps will ask you to upgrade so that you get all these new features, yada, yada, yada. I don't need it. You probably don't need it either, but that's how they make their money. But I use Lose It. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it. The app looks like a little tiny, I know this is hard to see. I'll probably put a thing on the screen for you guys, but I use Lose It. And what I do with Lose It is I actually go in, I put what I want to lose per week. Now, 2 pounds to half a pound a week is healthy. What that means is if you're trying to lose weight, you need to knock off 3,500 calories of excess calories, right? So that means you got to have a deficit every day. Why you can't just do 3,500 calories in one day is it would be extremely hard on you and it would not be sustainable. It really isn't. Go out and try to knock off 3,500 calories by exercising in a day and see what that does to you. And please let me know in the comments because I might have to come to your funeral. Just saying. But that's why they go by the 250 to 1,000 a day metric of calories. Sorry, 250 to 1,000 caloric deficit daily. And what that means is you look at your diet, you look at how many calories you're eating, and you just knock 250, which is half a pound. So every 250 calories you add to it is another half a pound up to 1,000, right? Now, if you're a really small person, you don't have a lot of muscle mass, you're not very overweight, 250 is going to be the lowest or the highest you want to go. And sometimes you even have to come under that a little bit, depending on how big you are. Now, if you're a big person, like you have a lot of weight on you, 1,000 is going to be okay. That's 2 pounds per week, but that's because you're bigger. Once you're bigger, you have a lot more calories to play with, and it's not as hard on your body. As you lose weight gradually, you will get to where you have to slowly kind of go, okay, I was losing 2 pounds. Now I'm going to lose 1.5 pounds. I'm going to lose a pound, and I'm going to lose half a pound, right? Then it gets to the point where it's not sustainable. Everything you do when it comes to health, working out, losing weight, all that stuff, you want to make sure it's something you can do that's healthy, sustainable, and doesn't make you miserable. You don't need to be miserable while you're doing this. However, I'm going to tell you kind of like a little bit how to do it. So I'm going to probably pop it up on the screen and I'm going to record it on my phone later so that you can see it. But I'm probably pop it up right now is Lose It. So there's other apps too. There's MyFitnessPal. There's Samsung Health actually has a way to record your food every day. It just depends on what you like doing. Some of them can scan barcodes. So some of the things the caveats to that, right? One thing is you want to go in and you want to set your activity level to 0 activity or sedentary. And why that is if you put it to light activity, somewhat active, or highly active, it's going to give you those calories every day. What the problem with that is if you don't actually burn those calories, then you're going to gain weight. Now, what you do is if you have a wearable or you're able to track your workouts, because there is like in My Lose It where you could click and show what you did that day, it will give you calories per your exercise. You're your sedentary is light work plus 5,000 steps a day. And what that means is just normal every day, walking around, breathing, talking, and 5,000 steps a day is sedentary. Once you get over that 5,000 steps a day, you're considered somewhat active or light active, whatever you want to call it. As you go throughout the day and you add workouts in there and exercise you're doing, more steps, yada, yada, your activity level increases. And what that does is it creates more caloric deficit. And if you have a wearable, right, like Samsung Galaxy S7 watch, whatever, the one I got the last generation, was on sale at Walmart for $145, $150. And I said, yeah, because I had an Active 2 and it was okay for like whatever time, but the battery was garbage on it. But if you can get your hand on any kind of wearable, you know, if you're an iPhone person or you're a Fitbit, these are actually really good too. And I'll have a video on that later. But I tie all my activity into my app. It tells me when I've had more calories than what I worked out or I did that day, and I'll eat appropriately to that. But what the really main important part is being able to track your calories, watch how much you're eating, and you know, every once in a while you may go over your calories a little bit. It's not an exact science. You're not going to die from going over your calories, but maintaining the majority of your tracking and you're under that deficit, you will see results. All right, that's it. Thank you guys. Bye. Bye, 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 bye.